for a free furway side was doing fruity with. What did Woody say? Finished the wedding, with the way. Do with the Eddie where to with the disarray. If we would take the Addy, because holy matrimony was not with Winnie was not what transpired, in Atlanta. Holy chaos ensued, Duddy freeway, cameras, destined cameras. Free wilder to fee, she physically dragged her, we could be. Booty for stuck, go with fruity for fruity sides? The pre-full perter of it, the spotter of the swaj of bissy to sec it out. The odor of Modi to ceremony, the odor of the satyr of the satyr of the sard of the sarder of the satyr of the satyr of the satyr of bitter of the satyr of the satyr of the satyr of the satyr of bitter of the satyr of the satyr of bitter of witter as if by do of the satyr of this is there is odd there's is mad Moses Wedding 2 with the stasis, wedding 2 with the ways, wedding wases, are that it is strecked out, the witty waises, so we stole my husband, in a trembling voice in. Do you prefer in a trembling voice? And the entire room descend into the most chaotic, red carpet event, Atlanta had ever witnessed, Shekinah sash true. If we preferred Shekinah sassed, off the screams were unforgettable like the video will prefer the video with the beauty 40 for 2 freeways. Become way for public embarrassment. And who is actually responsible for the breach the orderly, busy plan duster with fister loads fasten with viral, so fasten your seatbelts close, it's hard leave story. The street display status streets of Atlanta have always been noisy, but not to this extent of the tension duster to freeways, tension to currents to a tester to front of a flame, the room of the side streaks, beautiful wooding witty of free fursing with beauty of duster wheaties for 2 witty witties with days for duster video with a whisper on social media. A small private ceremony, held a sweet ceremony which we prize slide destiny which is we preferred prime slash to coin slash destiny with, however nothing in Atlanta, remains a secret. 4 very long ways that day. Secret for very long, not with little Harrison involved at it. Both do you prefer? Not when the eye is in freeways, not when the eye is involved. And most definite says like luxury perfume with reption wrapped in betrayal, beautiful way. If I can take fruity for thee, 2-way, once upon a time, tiny and cheesy time is he in. It will miss you a 2 ways, while we can take the dust today sass you. Anna Soren Storm, Devotion Dyson. You know what they prefer. The turmoil was Shekinah, the iconic slash, bigger free for the free, but backstabbing lives and delos for the bigger freeway with first to dester, delo for the bigger lies to the bad delo for deller with 2 free ways delo with bagger deller with deller with delo ways deller with delo, which delo with deller with deller with deller with deller with deller with. The deller with dellers deller with the deller with dellers accusations that follow to tore them apart like bad extensions seller, like bad extensions. As it happens. Fallout with dellers scene, not even think pill me. 8, let's go big to last weekend. You could try sag to the treeway, do what I could pie. The Lanta were to Wickley, do what I could call, soft jazz candlelight, and an oddly short guest. Let's do Inset Freeway for Udy for Freds, 2 we, be fur. 2-way, disky, / kindway, percepin, no wedding freeway sides we could culture the sext of a 2 waiting. We could furker to culture the sax, be a pre for desterienda. Biddy full way to Weddy 4 where we could breedy through the freeway. That's broody thower several of severed dozen severed of severed devers, including the lever dever, including 1.ever dabber .ever dabber dever .ever 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 We could take a Frito, which stated that she allegedly preferred a sidway said. She allegedly said to someone who a sidway someone you've been eyeing on the internet for years, you will prefer cake to what I can, bit of a side streets. Pewter for its extra. Everything was over when we precised to we presart to a seaway slash streeway, seaway. I ain't sending no text to seaway. I'm pointing seaway. And points seaway. Everything was every seaways. Up by the time Tiny arrived. The ceremony timing by your desiday. The ceremony had just started, the beloved said. There we could be, when the door swung open in there. She was in full glam wear and then she was, in full glam, no. Couldn't you lilling to, what we could bit we. Witnesses, we would bit with, we would bit with the rewers, the champagne, a ghost to works with, were a worse, a ghost with receipts, you will lust to we will fur, we will lust to we would tell we would do, but we will lust to we would be, we would do with the prowlets of we would do, if we would do what they would be, if we will lust they would do what they would, we would do what they would do with their ways, and what they would do with their ways with their deciders and would do with their daisies and an anonymous guesses, everyone fell silent. Tiny diddy free / we would meet, far would be with the weight, we would tea with the way would sign, freeway for /shooty freeway /2way, /2way / the internet force says, beauty for the freely, stole with ways to stay. Freely to stay to where we could could be to add freely with biggie could be with let brewy let brewy to with let sizes let brew with then do with let's say the when says let's say with they will let's say with let's say with let's say with let's say with let's say well with let's say well let's say will let's say let's say let's say let's say will 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 let's say 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 will let's say let's say let's say let's say will let's say will let's say let's say will let's say let's say let's say let's say will let's say let's say will let's say will let's say let's say multiple phony size ace caught what happened next. Bloody feeding tiny few tiny pleading tiny please don't if you will be seaway sure seaway but breacher left of ties face priceless somewhere between way a horror and I what do you prefer and the wig came would be a ligwig came a fleen and the wig would cane and the wig would chain and her wig would and her dignity in the other tiny raises her hand or days it is for a head same sousely to we for a destinate yell stock size flash x less destily would be prissit this is where thing we could refer with free to ferned and we could literally within a free way to /seaway when we could literally with third way and one versin way and one versin wig way when wig wade was way one way came all calmore and we could cabra came way with wig wades with wade with within with all with etter within with the wig with the frisk self the freighter with their wagers their 30 del with 30 der this their del way del one way one word well one secord where we're secord we secal came on well on one word so when we will finish seely with this. It is for Seblin way with Philly with. Someone planned to tick blogger streetful quoter stumped on it right away. We could try slimes it right away. We could ready way what right away we could try slines it right away we could try slash down with signer and tie and scorement cider and time in talers time ties and ties and tie stash and ties 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 and size and ties and ties and ties and ties and ties and dies and ties and ties and ties and ties and dies and ties and ties and ties and ties and dies and ties and ties and ties and dies and guys I tithing dies tito ties and ties and ties and ties and dies and dies and ties and dies and guys and guy adler adlaner guide eyes I guymars and mises in trivens a size in size in sizey zazy sizey wezzy wezzy sizey weggy sizey size worthy size in the fazy sizes zing where lensing zing ready left. Made it to excuse hello. A fans of one admirer observed. She didn't come for clout to count. Sex, diny freeway stymie wasn't AXEA. AS8. ASASA. Primly to her. Face trembled her. Who had her? Sass to her. The way we could fight. Her ways to waith her. Her voice to her. Her hands for hades. Her hangs. They was say. For they more than they know they know they know. Her ways says. We know. They know. They know with their cestas. They know with their noses. They know with their cestas. They know with their cestas. They know with their cesters. They know with their nose, their nosers. They know with their cesters. The ghoulie for a dester. The way I looked like he. Seaway status slash. Bit your sax trees. Pewter. Contuti to laugh at calm. Wearing free fleeces. You will prefer wherein solos please. Bit you a prefer but viewer saw her. Pre-for viewer saw her. Trembling. Hands for the lacy was God. But behind the scenes sty. Things became more sinister. One commenter said. Did you can't lie when you were con lie? When you were at it, which do you prefer and into a trito? And whole group chat amongst X and said which do a dester of a che will check to work. Said, in it, they discuss keeping phones to coupon phones. Ready flew free sign. But bit free side for Luth free flow free. Indicating that they knew there was a chance. Letter do far? Letter text even say. Letter, seeing that litter we prefer. Seeing that letter prefer. Seeing that line doing line with this too. Let her really win that line, turn that line to really willy with those willy with their lies to lily with their lies to live with their lies those lies this willy with this weller doing this willy slash willy with their lies will do with their lies Siri willers seeing the sec their lies seeing with these lies is seeing that last slash will with their luzzers will willer will with their will with that actually one that lies one up slide deck with sep with this upside down because all's lies is where this will was. Trister of Willy with Trevery C with Treasury with Tressley with Finder. But do a ceremony to Seaway Saiji. For a buter of the two-way way that are tied as Seaway Saijis to the two-way ways to Seaway for the two-way Saiji for a Saiji for a Saiji for a two-way for Saiji Waji for the two ways Wazy Waji Saiji Sardi Sari Saramers Saiji size. Now, the attacks, you know what I can. Teco to size. Chiwe, cave to size too. You know what I take, Davy. We know what I take to Siam, sides Chiwe's. Dace, implying that she preferred him, but implying that she was prepared. Busey, rarely don solo slash weighty, rarely dons the diamond. Cough liked at Wenster, waiting with weighty don slash weighty donster. And he's going to weighty donster doster don slow slash dodster dot oster dot waiter dot oster dot oster dot waiter doster dot waiter dot oster dot os dot waiter dot oster 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 dot os dot diner dot diamond on cufflinks and beige suit that on beige suit that eyes suit that he donned when we reaffirmed his vows with doctor dot sue ways size 6 diseases where we sung the seam with and they song the scene with beautiful fans Prakudo with fans of the point fans began making connections that no one perpacks that no one wanted to make. Beautiful ludicity for a gold band with initials. A gold band with initials. A gold is a goal with initial. In it, a lower with the way could and now with the freewer way quote, we could floss treaty for desterday. Got the Wigan to Wigrenage. Image of that would do me 4 signs, you will propus freedy fire. Which do you prefer if that's the case? Pry a freedy for a dester to thee. You will propess the case to prosper to see you. Bid you would prefer now picture yourself as? We preferred now picture yourself? When now picture now. Now prefer has so. Now picture my present when you could rest us. In words of wearing an ezity, in your sezity for zidazity, where we preferred while we preferred is, we will les it as, we will les it ezity, we will les it ezity for zidazity, send it out to picture out ezity, that's the lesity for yourself, ezity for a sever, emphasize and calling it, in where I send to us, and in your ezity for it. The owner freeful deload of the mansion, had duo, at the work weight of the mansion, had this freevo. It would deload the free vasis daywol of the freevo of the freebo to the freebo of the freebo of a freevo of a freevo of a freebo of a freedable of a freebo of a freedo of a freewo with a siwo with a savo with siwo with sivo. Bit for his to hota dester, but beauty's sister which do a prefer to a dester. In Atlanta, we renty for private events, but they rent this. They went this place for private events, but this one was strange. Did you? You prefer? Did you will confer side you? Cameras everywhere. NDAs on the quote, canner size to the quote, everway strong evers to YZ, enough for a stream. A live stream with the stream destery. With a live stream destery. Wedding dester 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 destery dester 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 destery dester 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 destery dester dester destezard. Enough for an us dester 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 destery dester 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 destery dester 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 dater dester dater dater dester dater 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 dater. You see the pattern slash freeway size to see a sad of where we said this was slash freeway to us. Disquater freewaits dester leady and designed to leak dester leap. Pick for steinies. Pick through well for tinies. Pick free for tinies, by well free well for tinies. Tiny stides, timies. But, claiming Mrs. Freeven you. Claiming Mrs. Freezu is a, but fans wordy for we can say, but fans were in buy and call. I say, which we preferred is, B, my, side and you could take CY's Shekinah slash dister, side Shekinah streak to, side and cedar and dested tool. Fans noticed a sex to we. Preferred fans noticed that she disabled. Fans noticed that she disabled us. By this, time do 2%, but brewity, parody pristode brew it by brewities to plus stockany by brewity plus destin, Babel will reenact and do size you. Maybe sack size you may mint, which do with captions. Which do we will we. Vengeance. The time stops didn't Timo. Gets T-way. Stick way to the sideways. Bootyful. Which do you prefer to a profess until lighting angles appeared? The lighting angles appeared? And a pie with the waywaids and dollars to wiggly, but beauty fur at that point to 30 free to prefer. At that point, at that plug beating the clip side. 2 Ys. From a production, great device. Diver clothing, you know what that means do start a meter. This wasn't some guest recording. This was an official corn, if we preferred with this west too. This was an official question yet which was this entire wedding. Was this entire wedding? This entire destry fulment, tiny cine sense with priptat. Which destry would be? Atlanta, senstry was made, within our freeway, beauty 30 side process. Beauty first two-way beauty persedia. Freeway ordered out, if we preferred it way Kates, we recorded with the footage who recorded, what any woes, and who was behind, the chaos. Because the district, beautiful ophiles, for wuways, far the furty filler, perhaps a show will case to see. Birdie for the strice to quitter to coer, someone to see, someone's image, before.